Hello, welcome. It's Miss Molly with Making Music Matters, and in this video I would like to show you how to play Beethoven's Ode to Joy. Now, Ode to Joy is one of those pieces that even if you don't recognize the title, you will almost definitely know it because it's used so often in so many circumstances by so many people. I'm just going to play a little bit of the beginning for you, see if you recognize it. So Ode to Joy is actually part of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, his final symphony, which premiered in 1824. Beethoven was the first composer to use voices in an orchestral work. So the way the Ninth Symphony is structured is there's 3 movements of just orchestra, and then the 4th movement he introduces 4 vocal soloists, a soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, and then pretty much as big of a chorus as you can fit on the stage for dramatic effect. So the Ode to Joy itself, the text, was written by a German poet named Friedrich Schiller in the 1700s, and it's exactly what it says. It's an ode, which is a poem of praise to joy. The way that Schiller structured it made joy seem like a person, kind of like an Inside Out, actually. So it's a poem of praise to this personification of an emotion, specifically joy. All right. When I teach this in the schools, I usually give the students words to memorize and sing. It helps immensely with getting the rhythms right. And normally I use the name of the school of wherever I'm teaching at that particular moment. But I think for general purposes, I'm going to replace the school name with the word happy. So it's going to go like this. We are happy violinists, violins and bows in hand. We are happy violinists, playing ode to joy we stand. We love making beautiful music on violin all night and day. We are happy violinists. Now sit back and hear us play. The structure of Ode to Joy, it's 4 phrases. The first phrase, the second phrase, and the 4th phrase are almost identical. The 2nd and 4th are completely identical. Then the 3rd phrase, 3rd line, is quite a bit different, actually. But it's one of those, if you can get the beginning, then you have the end, and quite a bit of the middle. First 4 notes. This is almost all on the D and A strings. There's 1 G string note later on. All right, it's on D string. 2, 2, 3, A. I'll play it. Get the angle of that a little better. There we go. 2, 2, 2, A. Now let's have you give it a try. Ready, 2, 2, 3, A. Ready, go. The next 4 notes are straight back down the scale. A, D3, D2, D1. A, D3, D2, D1. A, D3, D2, D1. And again. A, D3, D2, D1. Right, so that first couple measures goes 2, 2, 3, A, 3, 2, 1. My turn. Again. 2, 2, 3, A, 3, 2, 1. next measure is D, D, D1, D2, D, D1, 2. My turn. Your turn. Ready, go. D, D1, 2. Again, go. D, D1, 2. Next measure, I'm sorry, is D2, D1, D1. So long D2, short D1, D1. Do it again. With me, ready, go. So add that to the measure before it, and it's D, D, D1, D2, D2, D1, D1. Again. Ready, go. D, D, D1, D2, D2, D1, D1. So now let's go back to the beginning. We'll do the first two measures, and then pause and do the next two measures. So the beginning, first two measures are D2, D2, D3, A, D3, D2, D1, D2, D2, D3, A, D3, D2, D. The next two measures are D, D, D1, D2, D2, D1, D1. D, D, D1, D2, D2, D1, D1. So that entire measure. I'll play it once. I mean the entire line. Try it with me. Starting D2, ready? D2, D2, D3, A, D3, D2, D1, D, D, D1, D2, D2, D1, D1. This next line, second line is almost the same. It starts out exactly the same. Instead of D2, D1, D1, it's D1, DD. So let's just do that. D1, DD a couple times in a row. Get ready with D1. And D1, DD. Again. One more time. D1, DD. So at this point, if you're not entirely sure about the beginning, it's a good time to pause and go back and make sure that you are comfortable with that, because at this point you've learned the first line and the second line, and actually the fourth line is exactly the same as the second line, so this is almost the whole thing. Alright, so now I'm going to start at the beginning again, and I'll play through the first two lines without saying anything. And I'll go back and do it again, saying the notes. Ready to play with me. Ready? D2, D2, D3, A, D3, D2, D1, D, D1, D2, D2, D1, D1, D2, D2, D3, A, D3, D2, D1, D, D1, D2, D1, D. Excellent. Now the only thing left is the middle, the third line. First measure is D1, D1, D2, D. I'll play. Your turn. D1, D1, D2, D. Again. D1, D1, D2, D. D1, D2, D. Right, second measure of the third line. D, the rhythm changes a little bit here. D1, D2, D3, D2, D, like this. Again. So your turn. D1, D2, D3, D2, D, ready, go. D1, D2, D3, D2, D. Again on the second measure of the third line. D1, D2, D3, D2, D. The next measure is almost the same, only the last note is different, so it's a little bit tricky. It's D1, D2, I'm sorry, D1, D2, D3, D2, D1. Again? Or not again. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, try with me. D1. Ready? D1, D2, D3, D2, D1. Again. D1, D2, D3, D2, D1. Again. D1, D2, D3, D2, D1. Right, so if we just take the second two measures, the middle two, it's 1, 2, 3, 2, D, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. The last notes of that measure, of that line, are D, D1, then you get to go G1. Again. With me? Ready? D, D1, G1. Alright, so let's try that entire third line, middle line, this is the different one. I'll play it first. Try that. Slow it down a little bit. Needs to be slowed down a little. D1, D1, D2, D, D1, 2, 3, D2, D, D1, 2, 3, D2, D1, D, D1, G, 1. G1, they're not open G. And the last line is the same as the second line, which is D2, D2, D3, A, D3, D2, D1, D, D, D1, Sometimes got to check tuning in the middle of a video just to make sure. All right, so that's the entire Ode to Joy. It's not... Beethoven did many, many more complicated things with it, which makes that movement of the very long symphony even longer. I should have mentioned earlier in the history, if anyone is probably already aware of this, but Beethoven was completely deaf when he wrote his Ninth Symphony, and for a while before that. But he managed to have all that music in his head, which, is amazing to me. That he knew what it was supposed to sound like without ever being able to hear it, so he never did hear it. It's amazing, kind of heartbreaking at the same time. All right, let's try a straight playthrough of Ode to Joy. I'll have the music up on the Making Music Matters website. If you go into the lesson pages, and there's a link to our Google Drive, and you'll be able to find it through there. All right, so here we go. Ready? Be on the lookout for a playthrough of this with the duet part, and thank you for watching.